So you're thinking about applying to film school, but you're not sure if it's worth blowing a couple $100,000 just to come out the other side maybe a starving artist? Trust me, we've all been there. As a working screenwriting consultant who graduated from the American Film Institute, I'm here to answer your burning question once and for all: is film school really worth it? Unlike med school or law school, going to film school doesn't guarantee you a career in the field you were trained for. Being academically qualified as a filmmaker means essentially nothing. There isn't one clear path to work your way up to becoming a filmmaker, so once you graduate, you're essentially in the wild, wild west. In fact, most people have to hustle for years before they ever get to work in the field that they were trained for. And on the other hand, I know people who have gotten just as far, if not further, without ever dropping a penny on film school. I even know people who have dropped out of film school, then use their tuition money to make award-winning short films instead. So it looks like the case against film school is pretty strong, right? Well, not quite. So to research for this video, I watched a bunch of those should I go to film school type YouTube videos, and all of them sort of covered similar talking points like money, discipline, quality of education, and how you can learn anything from a good YouTube tutorial these days. But none of them really hit on what I think is the crux of the issue in the film school, no film school debate, which is that although film school doesn't guarantee you success, it does guarantee you something almost just as good: a graduation thesis and an extensive creative network. Okay, so imagine your average John Smith working in corporate America. John Smith did not go to film school, but John Smith decides, I want to be a film director. I want to change midlife crisis. I want to join the film industry. John Smith gets really, really lucky and meets a film exec producer somehow in an elevator. The exec is like, yo, I'll take a chance on you. You want to work in the movies? Show me some of your stuff, John. Well, John Smith has nothing, you know? He's never made movies before. He wants to make movies. How do you make movies without never making movies? Now say John Smith goes, okay, you know what? I don't have anything right now, but I will get something. I'll put something together for you. I'm gonna do a proof of concept to showcase my talent and prove to you that I can really do this. He now needs a team. He needs someone to hold the camera, someone to write the script, someone to hold the mic, someone to edit. He needs actors in it. Does John Smith even know where to begin looking for those collaborators? Would you? And on top of that, he probably needs a group of people who are willing to do it for very little money, because filmmaking is expensive, and John Smith is just one guy. Anyway, say in the parallel universe, a different John Smith. This John Smith did go to film school, and he also gets really lucky and he meets the executive producer in an elevator. The exec goes, "Can I see some of your work, John?" John Smith can go, "Yes, you can, sir. Here's my graduation thesis I got selected for Tribeca Film Festival." Now he's like one step closer to making his dreams come true. Let's say John Smith really didn't like his graduation thesis, or, you know, the exec wants like a different genre of work. John Smith can go, okay, no worries. I'll make something for you to showcase my talents, and he can turn to his extensive network of collaborators from film school who would all benefit from, you know, a larger portfolio. The way I see it, if you've decided to pursue film, you're a bit of a nutter, because you've just chosen one of the most arduous, demanding, punishing, rip your hair out career paths out there. Expect to be about 20 years behind your corporate friends in terms of financial stability, and expect to be hustling and grinding and trying and failing and networking and bearing your soul in front of a cruel audience just for them to laugh in your face, and then getting back up tomorrow morning and doing the same all over again. It's a hard enough journey as it is, but film school acts like a fast track pass that lets you skip about 10 years ahead in terms of craft, portfolio, and creative network. That said, if you're someone who already has a strong sample of work or an extensive creative network, say you're a nepo baby, no tea, no shade, it genuinely might not be worth going to film school. Or say you live in a city like LA where you can literally network just by going on a hike, it might be worth seeing how far you can get solo. And if you already have a large following from making iPhone sketches, I'd recommend just upgrading your equipment, watching some YouTube tutorials, and seeing what happens. There really is no one set path. Look, if money wasn't a problem, I'd honestly recommend everyone to just go to film school. But as every starving artist knows, money is always a problem. Before I applied to film school, I called up this industry mentor to ask him for a little bit of advice. Because I was fresh out of undergrad at the time, he told me to wait a few years, you know, work a little, live a little, grow some perspective, save up, and then apply to film school. I said, oh my god, thank you so much for the advice, this is so helpful, and then immediately did not take it and apply to film school. I do still think it was the right choice for me at the time, but in hindsight, I do totally understand what he meant. I think that the students who worked a few years, saved up significantly, and then went to film school had both a calmness and a focus about them that I could have really benefited from. So if film school is really out of picture right now financially, I would recommend waiting a few years, working a few years, and then reassessing later. It might be better than kickstarting your artist struggle with a ton of debt. Ultimately, the question about film school isn't about whether or not it's helpful. I think we can all agree that it is helpful. It's about whether or not it's worth it. Now that's kind of tricky because whether it's worth it sort of depends on if you end up making it, right? If you fail, nothing is worth it. And if you end up winning an Oscar, maybe everything is worth it. But you signed up for a career path where most people fail and success isn't guaranteed. So all film school can do is help your odds. You know, Paul Thomas Anderson said with his full chest that film school is not worth it because he made it solo. And Ari Aster says that AFI was worth it because he met his creative collaborators there. And for you, well, I guess only time will tell. My name is April and I run a writing consultancy dedicated to helping aspiring grad students workshop their application material. If you decide the film school is the way to go and would like a little guidance on how to get in, check out my website at aprilpeng.com, also linked in the description below. Thank you for watching. That is all from me today. Good luck, and I will see you next time.